A good week of practice for you, Jeff, bucket week?
I think it was a really good week of practice. Our guys understand we have a lot to play for, a lot of season left in our mind. Indiana rivalry game is some game that you always want to be up for. You want to find a way to win. You want to find a way to make your fans and your school happy. So I think our guys will be ready to go, and hopefully they'll enjoy Thanksgiving today with their family and people they love, and then come out Friday and Saturday ready to go.
You've mentioned guys that have been nicked up, but they're still playing. After this week, will the 2-3, whatever the gap time is between the end of Saturday and your bowl game, will that allow some of these guys to get healthy and probably be fresh for the bowl game?
Without question, there'll be a handful of guys that this time will be very beneficial to get them healthy for the game, and then there's going to be a handful of guys that we'll have to decide whether we have surgery for the bowl game and they're out, or there might be one or two that you can get back, or we wait till after the bowl game. So it's a deck of guys that have all battled through hard, and they've done a really good job. But we'll have to figure that out as soon as this game's over.
Is there any of the guys that were injured that have been out? Would they be coming back for the bowl game?
I think. Whether they'll be on the field or not. I mean, I think like a Dante Hunter is somebody who is back healthy. I don't think Samizi will be ready.
Trice would not be ready.
The Trice will not be ready. Paco will not be ready. Abdur will not be ready. Marshawn Rice will not be ready. But there'll be a handful of guys that the rest will be beneficial to.
Antonio Stevens?
Antonio is close to about as ready as he can get. He had a serious injury where I think we just got to give him some more time, even mentally, to get over it and feel comfortable. And I think at some point he will be ready to get into action, whether it's this year or maybe just one more year, just to get him feeling comfortable. That's probably more likely what will happen.
Have you started having any conversations, Jeff, with guys who could come back for cash in their COVID year, so to speak?
We have those conversations lined up for after the regular season, and we'll definitely speak with all of the guys that have that option, and we'll see where they're at. And in our mind, if guys want to come back and want to make another go-around, we'll probably be all up for it and want them back. And then there'll be others that want to move on. So I don't want to force the issue with those guys, but I would see, at least a few guys coming back for sure.
How difficult is that puzzle now? Because you have to get back to 85 scholarships, correct? I mean, how difficult is that puzzle, knowing who may come back, and you have to save room for what you may do in the portal as well, as far as additions, right?
Well, I think the puzzle's a little simpler for us because we didn't have a whole lot of super seniors. Some other teams had a whole lot. And when you have a whole lot, yes, it is really hard. So we have a little bit of a dilemma, but we've managed the numbers every year on this, and sometimes you can't panic. You have to kind of just let things play out. You kind of have to be honest with guys and tell them where they stand on the depth chart, and if they feel good about it and they want to stay, great. If they don't think that they're getting a fair shot, then we always want them to stay, but if they want to go somewhere else and play, we'll help them. So those things normally play out, and yes, we want to have room for any transfer options that we want to come in here and help our team. Guys that have experience, that have played a lot of football, that maybe can fit a few gaps or needs that we identify when the season's over, and for sure we'll be as active as we can with that.
You guys spent a lot of time in the off season trying to boost that running game. I think it's fair to say you haven't probably got the results that you thought that you would get. You're going to have to revisit this again in the off season, I guess. What will be the plan of attack to try to improve that running game as you get into the off season?
Well, I think that some strides have been made this last half of the year. You got to, when it comes time to it for games, you got to figure out, okay, who are my best playmakers and how can we give them the ball and how can we score points and win. So sometimes that factors into a little bit. We could try to be more committed to the running game at times if we wanted to, but I don't know if that's the best thing for our team right now with some of the receivers and options we have, and Aiden throwing the ball efficiently. We have mixed in some more run pass options that have the ability to run the ball if the look's there, and if not, we throw it, and Aiden throws it quite a bit if we get a preferred look. So we're going to continue to work on that. I do think our O-line with Coach Williams and Coach Callaway both working with them has improved. They worked really hard. We had some running backs injured throughout the year, which affects things. We've had some other things happen at that position that affected the depth. So we're always going to continue to work on it. I think situational running is probably even more important, being able to run on short yardage situations, goal line situations, that we always want to for sure try to get better at, which we need to put effort in that. But in general, I think that some strides have been made, but we want to continue to push forward in that. And really it's about what is the defense going to allow you to do, and you've got to be able to get that done. So whether they're going to make you pass or run it, you have to be efficient enough to be able to do that. And that's always going to just be something we work on improving.
Do you feel like you're better at situational short yardage this year?
I would say we've been slightly better, and I don't know if it's because we for sure were able to just pound the ball up in there, or we've just added some more options and twist with it. So, ramming that ball up in there on short yardage, when they know it's coming, has not been our strength. So sometimes you got to play off of it, but we still want to work to where we can get to do that some when we have to. So yes, that'll always be a work in progress.
Are you going to push to get a hardship year for Samisi, Fakasieki, and Greg Long? Greg mentioned he thought maybe he could get a hardship.
We're in the process of putting some things together for those guys. I would think Samisi, we feel like we would have a good chance. With Greg Long, we're not for sure yet. Just looking at his clock, I don't know if he will be eligible for that. So we're still double checking some things on that, and he's been made aware of that. And he'll go through senior day, and he's done a really good job for us. So that one I'm not for sure about. I'm not as optimistic. With Samisi, I feel like we'd have a good chance.
Samisi wants to come back, obviously.
Yes.
Do you have a timetable at all?
Well, we have to write something up, put in the paperwork, make sure it's exactly contains what we want, that we feel like can help our case, and then they get to it when they get to it. So no, I really don't. I would think by the start of next semester we would for sure know.
And you fully expect to have some of your current underclassmen jump in the portal?
Well, I think every year you're going to have at least some do that, and some want to make that decision after the season. Some maybe want to go through spring and see where they stand, and we definitely want to help them fulfill all their dreams. So if they want a chance to compete and earn a spot, we're all for it. If they want to, if it fits them to go somewhere else sooner, we'll help them do that. I think one thing our players do understand, we want them to play football. Preferably we want it to be here and have a great career and get a great education, but if they're just dying to get more playing time, we want to help them achieve their goals in that.
How many quarterbacks do you prepare for Saturday from IU?
Well, we have a plan for quite a few, and they could easily play quite a few. I think that whatever is going to help them score points, they're going to do, and we've got to be ready for all of it. And the young freshman quarterback's a good runner who's going to develop into a really good quarterback. He's just young, so he's a big physical presence. We got to make sure that we do a good job against him, and then they put some other guys in that can throw the ball more, and we've got to know when they're in what we're doing and be sharp with it, because it could be two different packages.